What's going on, everyone? Tommy P back with another naturally obsessed look into football. If you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit the like button, subscribe button, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought about today's video. And as I always like to preface by saying, I am not a football expert. I'm just a fan who's naturally obsessed. And in today's video, I kind of want to touch on, like I've mentioned in the past, with the NBA offseason officially here, free agency about to begin, but pretty soon, within the first 3 to 5 days, sometimes a week, NBA free agency usually dies and the offseason gets much slower, which is where I like to start putting the vast majority of my time in preparation for the upcoming football season. So today, spend some time getting caught up with you guys on the NBA stories that I missed covering yesterday, but the vast majority of today outside of that was spent kind of getting caught up in some NFL stories and just talking to some friends, the difference between football and basketball. I enjoy covering football because I do have some friends that are in the know of certain things, as most of you who are subscribers know. But with football, I don't have any friends that are in the know of certain things necessarily, but I do know some writers of websites and things like that. And I've spent some time talking to them. And one of my friends who works with, my team, the Arizona Cardinals, has filled me in on some things that he's heard from other people about the situation regarding Rodney Hudson, center for the Arizona Cardinals, who's reportedly mulling retirement. And it's a big story because Rodney Hudson was considered probably the biggest offseason acquisition for the Arizona Cardinals entering the season, and it was a big get. I was really excited, and the Cardinals drew a lot of praise for it, particularly Steve Keim, who doesn't have the greatest draft track record, but he has a very good to great track record when it comes to trades. So the Cardinals acquiring who, in my estimation, is a top 3 to 4 center in the NFL, top 5 at the very worst. That was last year. I'd be open to an argument against that now. He didn't have the best season, but what I will say though is that he suffered through some injuries last year, and the difference of the product when he's off the field versus on the field, it was very noticeable. The Cardinals had a very significantly, much better, in fact, record when Hudson plays versus when he does not play. And the Cardinals made the playoffs. Obviously, it was an absolute embarrassment that they put onto the field in that playoff game, particularly with the offensive line. A lot of people are going to pinpoint to Kyler Murray, rightfully so, quarterback. You get all the praise when you're good. You should get plenty of the blame when you're bad. But if you use your better judgment, the O-line did nothing to help him out. Kyler Murray was running for his life the moment the ball was snapped, and the O-line was not very good last year, all things considered. And with Rodney Hudson essentially being the captain of that offensive line, a lot of that's going to fall on him. So him mulling retirement, didn't show up to mandatory mini camp, and it was kind of weird because it was announced by Cliff Kingsbury that it was an unexcused absence, led to some speculation here or there, and now it's come out that Rodney Hudson is mulling retirement. So the thing that makes this even weirder for me, maybe for you too, is that the Cardinals are claiming they've known about this for quite some time, since I forget if they said it was around the same time or a little before they knew about the DeAndre Hopkins suspension. I bring that up because they said it was because they knew the DeAndre Hopkins situation was about to happen that they were aggressive in trading for Marquise Brown. So my question, because the number one criticism that trade got was you could have had Tyler Linderbaum out of Iowa, who was considered and is considered, and I even agree, the best O-lineman prospect in that draft class. You could have had him, prep for the future regardless. They opted to go for Marquise Brown, which at the time I heard it And the DeAndre Hopkins news hadn't come out yet. So I started overreacting, being like, I can't believe you could have got him for less. You could have done this. You could have done that. Then I sat down. I thought about it, cleared my head, let the emotion get out. Because like I always say, I'm a fan. Sometimes emotion gets the best of me. And I made a video about it saying that I'm okay with the deal because they traded the 23rd pick for him. And I have a really hard time, maybe eventually in a couple years, you draft a receiver at that position that turns out to be better than Marquise Brown, but I think it's really hard at that position, picking 23rd, that you find a guy that's going to give you better production than Marquise Brown. Because a lot of people, I made content about it the very next day, and a lot of the comments I got was, Tyler Linderbaum, Marquise Brown, he's just a cherry on top piece, this and that, this and that. And that's true when DeAndre Hopkins is available. But right now, that's a very vital piece. And I think that a lot of people are overlooking how poor of a fit Marquise Brown's skill set was for Baltimore, and he was still able to put up for production, versus how good of a fit he is for Cliff Kingsbury's offense and the familiarity between him and Kyler in college. And I get it. I get the criticisms, but I get why they do this. The point of this video, though, is you were planning for DeAndre Hopkins' absence. You knew this was coming. And then when it came out after the draft about the suspension, you put two and two together. It's like, oh, no wonder you had to give up a first-round pick for him. The entire league knew what was going on, and they took advantage of a desperate team. Good for them. I'm not criticizing that at all. Good for you. But you knew that was coming. You did something about it. And in the second round of the draft, you draft Trey McBride, tight end out of Colorado State. I like it. I love Trey McBride. I think he's going to be a fantastic player in this league. I think he's going to be a fantastic fit for this offense, playing along Zach Ertz. And then Max Williams is also coming back next year. Granted, off of that terrible injury, but still, last year, Max Williams was your number 2 tight end. Now, number 3, you can probably put him in a lot of special teams packages. Really good pick. But with the center position being a question mark right now, Rodney Hudson, we don't know if he's retiring or if he's going to come back. But right now, any good team should be preparing for the worst. That way, if the worst does happen, you're prepared. It's not going to come as a shock for you. And right now, the Cardinals have to operate as if Rodney Hudson is not coming back. So my question is, forget Linderbaum. Forget him for a second. The Cardinals could have traded up into the second round, still gotten Trey McBride. But they could have traded up into the second round to grab Cam Jurgens out of Nebraska, who, in my opinion, he went second in the draft as far as centers go. But in my opinion, that's right. He was the second best center coming into the league. And in my opinion, the Philadelphia Eagles ended up taking him. But I personally think, I did a lot of research in this and I looked at similar trades. Maybe it would have been different if the rest of the league knew Rodney Hudson was mulling retirement. I don't know. I just went based off of how far you're trading up and the entire, I think I went back like 10 years. I think I went back up. I looked at all the trades in similar positions, and I believe the Cardinals could have traded up into the draft for their third round pick. They had 2, but one of their third round picks, number 87, who they used to draft Cameron Thomas, pass rusher out of San Diego State, and next year's second round pick. It's a big swing trading a second round pick, but I think if you're feeling confident enough that you're getting your center of the future, you do it. You do it. And again, you're prepared for worst case scenario, Rodney Hudson retiring. But right now, where we stand, say Rodney Hudson does retire, and the Cardinals need to get a center in a pinch. I went through the remaining free agents at the center position, and I pulled 3 names that I think could be very good fits and make sense. So let me know in the comments if you agree with this, and if any of these players you don't like, but there is someone else you do like, let me know. First one, guy I cannot believe is still a free agent, J.C. Tretter. So, great player. Older, I believe he's 31 now, but still, he's younger than Rodney Hudson. And he's playing at a very high level, which is why I can't believe he's still a free agent. In the last 5 years, he's played about 5,300 snaps. He's only allowed 6 sacks and had 17 penalties called against him. So, very, very good production. I think this is probably the best option of the available free agents, and I'm not including any trades. I'll mention a few when I'm done with these 3 guys, but as far as free agents go, I think he's the best available center free agent. Number 2, Matt I can't even say that name. I know it's not Paradis. I don't know why that was so hard. Excuse me for that. Tongue twister. Played with the Carolina Panthers most recently. And the thing I like most about this fit is he's very familiar with Sean Kugler, the O-line coach and run game coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals. Kugler was with him when he was at Denver. So there's a familiarity there. And he started 98 games in his career. So he's an experienced guy. The downside, though, and this is a common theme with not only teams that are in a pinch to sign someone, but particularly the Arizona Cardinals, they love those value signings, which this could definitely be. He's coming off that ACL tear from last year where he missed the final 8 games. So if he's healthy, which everything I was reading when I was doing my research for this video indicates that he will be ready for the start of the season, why not? Sign him. See if he can fit. And then the third guy, Trey Hopkins, just finished that Super Bowl run with the Cincinnati Bengals, was released in the offseason. But I really, really like this guy. He started 67 games since 2015. And what I like most about him, he reminds me of a guy that was with the Cardinals for the last couple of years, no longer with the team though, Max Garcia. And the same thing I can say for Garcia is what I can say about Hopkins, which isn't really a good thing, but it's also not a bad thing. So he's inconsistent. Sometimes he's really good, surprisingly good, but there are times where there's those mental lapses where you're like, oh, dude, what are you doing? But I love how durable he is. Very durable player, played 100% of the snaps in all postseason games for the Cincinnati Bengals and was very consistent for them all regular season. So I really would not be mad at this signing. Obviously, he's my third choice, but if this is the signing, I'll take it. You know what I mean? Because from everything I've been told and reading about as well, Justin Pugh has been taking a lot of snaps at center. Justin Pugh, story of him has also been very inconsistent. He signed that, I want to say it was a 5-year deal with the Arizona Cardinals in free agency. His first year, he was literally the worst guard in the National Football League. And then he had a tremendous bounce back season where he was by Pro Football Focus, which I don't know what you think about Pro Football Focus. I'm not the biggest fan, but if you're going by those standards, he was one of the best guards in all of football. Was inconsistent again the year after, and then last year, he was okay. And I know me saying okay shows probably what type of player he is, but I don't love the guy, I don't hate him, and if you get Trey Hopkins, since he can play guard as well, I'd be okay with a center by committee type approach to start, because you have guys that are capable, but you got to get that thing figured out quick. Like, you can't be doing that all season long, a center by committee strategy. It's not going to work. So those are the 3 free agents. And then the wild card that is not a free agent that I think it's fair to ask is Jason Kelce. I don't think he's going to be available. I don't think the Eagles want to trade him, and I know the Eagles fans don't want to trade him. But if you're Steve Keim, at least pick up the phone and see. You know what I mean? Like I said, they drafted Cam Jurgens last year. They have their center of the future. And Jason Kelce's days in Philly are numbered. I don't necessarily think he's going to leave somewhere else because he's also getting up there in age. Retirement is coming very soon. But like I suggested in what I would have done to trade up to try to get Cam Jurgens, 2nd round pick, obviously don't start with that. See if they'll take a 3rd. See if they'll take a 3rd round pick. But if not, what about a 2nd? I would definitely, obviously, not take a 1st round pick. And some of you probably think I'm crazy for even offering a 2nd round pick. I get it. Trust me. I get it. But you have a team right now that just made the playoffs. You're hoping to continue the upwards trajectory that you've been on every year, where you went from 3 wins, then you draft Kyler, you get Cliff, go to 5 wins, then you go to 8 wins, then you go to 11 wins. You want to continue that upwards trajectory. And I know it's going to be hard because of all the key offseason losses that they've had. I don't even know if I expect the Cardinals to make the playoffs this year, but I expect them to damn well try. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be very difficult with all they lost in the offseason, plus the lack of belief that I personally have in Cliff Kingsbury, and Steve Keim's kind of getting up there too. I've defended Steve Keim for years, and you know, it's getting to a point where I'm having a really hard time continuing to defend him. And I'm hoping and I believe we're going to have a good year from Kyler Murray. I've been defending him since the day he got drafted. There's a lot of non-believers in Kyler Murray. I think it's absolutely ridiculous for some of the criticisms thrown his way. Some of them are very justified. Very justified. And I'm not going to even try to defend him. But if you're going to come at me with he doesn't know how to win, he's too small, he's really, like, I'm sorry that I'm not going to hold a kid that's been in the league for 4 years, coming into his 4th year, and he's always had Cliff Kingsbury as his head coach. I'm not even going to entertain that he doesn't know how to win or he's not a winner conversation. I'm not going to entertain that he's too small. Like, obviously durability is a legitimate concern because this is the 2nd year, technically, no, I have to correct myself, the 3rd year in a row that some injury of some sort has played a factor into how Kyler Murray has ended a season. But I'm going to give the kid some more time to figure it out. You do you. I have no desire of stopping you or trying to make you reconsider. It's just, that's me. You do you, I'm going to do me, and I'm going to give him more time to figure it out. But as far as the Rodney Hudson stuff goes, guys, let me know in the comments down below what you think. Do you think Rodney Hudson is likely going to retire? Do you think he's going to come back? Or do you think this is a strategy? Like I've heard it could potentially be a strategy to try to get traded. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. But in the meantime, guys, thank you all for watching. Please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe button, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought about today's video, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks, guys.